So we've gone from a faulty servo that hasn't worked to getting the octane back out on the track. Hi guys, it's Brent here from Hearns Hobbies, and today I'd like to talk to you about a quick repair on the VRX Octane. So this one's come in, it's got much love and much dirt and stuff all over it, as we can see here on our overhead camera. However, it's not steering. So let's have a look and diagnose. I suspect it's got a faulty steering servo. In fact, I don't use the word faulty, I just say it's probably damaged or unserviceable. It looks like it's had a bit of water up on the chassis plate and stuff. So yeah, you'll see here when we turn it on, we're getting very little response from the servo. So what I'm going to do, the next step is I'm going to go ahead and have a look inside the receiver box and see if we can, because at this point it still could be a transmitter, it could be the receiver, it could be the servo. So I'm just going to do a little bit of process elimination here. Got my trusty 9 steps toolkit here. There's the essential one that we've added a few bits and pieces on. Let's go have a look. Have a look in this receiver box. And I'm going to unplug channel number 1, because we know that channel number 1 is for steering. An easy way to remember is the channels. Obviously it's a 2-channel car, so we got channel 1 to turn and channel 2 to burn. So let's have a look. Channel 1, I'll unplug that, and I'll go ahead and plug in a replacement here. The trusty old Hiace D300. Very popular little servo that we sell. Goes in a lot of the retro Tamiya cars and just about everything. Now they're not waterproof, but they are a really good unit. Absolutely. Getting much better travel and response from that unit. So I'm going to go ahead now, turn the car off, and we'll fit a servo. Okay, car off, controller off, battery unplugged. Okay, I'll unplug the new servo and I'll put that to the side. So we're going to start on changing the steering servo. Now we can see here that it's got a couple of mounting brackets that are screwed through to the chassis and onto the steering section here, the bell crank and the integrated servo saver. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the first part of the linkage while it's screwed in. Then I'm going to go ahead and remove the servo wire from the receiver box, like so. It looks a little bit messy with all the wires everywhere. Got the battery strapped in. Then I'm going to go ahead and unscrew the servo from the bottom of the chassis plate. Now that's just a trusty old 2mm hex wrench. Put that screw there. Handy little tool mat, pit mat, this one. So what I'm doing is I'm putting my screws in separate places or compartments, so I know there are lots of different length screws throughout this car. So it all goes back together with the right screws in the right places. There we go. Now we can see here it's definitely been in the water and in the mud, and I would say that with probably a lot of use has just seen it fail. Next thing I need is a screwdriver, which of course I don't have, so bear with me while I go and get one. Okay, so I just need to grab a Phillips head screwdriver for this. Got a trusty 9 steps unit here. Going to go ahead and unscrew this servo horn. Now I'm hoping indeed that this is a standard 25 tooth servo spline, and I'll be able to see that now when I lay the servo down and place it on it. We're in luck. That's definitely a 25 tooth spline. That's great news. So I'm going to go ahead then and unscrew the brackets from the servo itself, and then we'll fit that up to the new servo, put it in the chassis and go ahead. Okay, so we've got our mounts off. Start screwing up our new ones. While I'm here, I will, before it goes in, I'll make sure that where it's going to sit is going to be nice and clean. So I'll go ahead and I'll give the chassis a little wipe over. Get these nice and snug. Luckily for this, I've got my little gizmo set here. Can scrape all the mud and crud out of the way. Here we go. Beautiful. So I suppose the next thing I'll do is I'll plug the servo in into channel 1 and I'll get the car turned on again, and I'll center the steering trim on the transmitter to ensure that we are giving the best chance of getting a good wheel alignment. So this one here, I'll put that at the 0 mark. Then I know that the servo horn was in fact straight up, and that's how it's sitting now. So I've got that straight up on the servo. The thing is, if you put it on when the servo's not centered it on, you can actually be out like a few teeth on the spline, and you'll never get the wheels to get pointed straight. So just opening a little servo bag here, find my servo horn retaining screw. Just a nice heavy duty self-tapping screw on these higher servos. That is great news. Fantastic. So I'll go ahead again and turn the car off as we finish up the final assembly. I'll put it in reverse order of what I took it apart. So I'll put the chassis in the chassis plate. It's got little mounting lugs in here which should line up. Okay, so what I've got to do here is I've got to loosen this mounting bracket off ever so slightly and realign it to ensure that we've got correct alignment in the chassis. So I'm going to leave it finger tight so I can align it in the chassis like so. I will then put the screws in the bottom, and then I'll fasten that front bracket up to ensure correct alignment with the servo brackets in the chassis and the servo brackets to the servo itself are all aligned. Okay, a couple more countersunk screws in the chassis. Okay, so I've got that sitting really nice. So then I can go ahead and tighten up that servo. As simple as that. That ensures I only loosen the front bracket. That ensures that it's all safe and sound. Go ahead, reattach my steering linkage. And at this point I'll turn it back on again and ensure that everything's, before we go any further, that everything's lined up and ready for correct operation, in case I have to take it out again and realign the servo horn or some such. There we go, servo's in, plugged in, the steering is on trim. I've got it unplugged from the the receiver. Here we go. So you can see here how that is in fact reversed to the servo that came out of it. So that's as simple as pushing that reverse switch on the transmitter, and we're going right. And then double checking that the wheel alignment is right, and it's not. So I'm going to go ahead now and show you exactly how I put it back on again. This time we can do it out of the car. That's why it always pays to double check to ensure correct alignment. Go ahead, put this one tooth up, like so. Gonna put the screw back in. Turn it back on and double check it again. There we go. That looks fantastic. You can see now the servo's a lot more positive and actually functioning, not like the faulty one that came out of it. So now it's a matter of putting the receiver back in the car, ensuring that the wires are nice, safe and secure, and that's it. That's the end of our repair. So we'll go ahead. There we go. Get the receiver wire. Got the new servo wire. Speed controller wire in here as well. It takes time to make sure that it's all nice and neat and secure, because the last thing you want to do is damage it from the lid of the box, or have it loose in the chassis and wrapping around a drive shaft or some such. Okay, put our aerial wire there. Two more screws now. Everything is screwed in nice, tight and secure. Again, I suppose it's time for a final check over and adjustment before we go out and have a play. Now what I'm going to check for here is steering dual rate. So I'm going to go all the way to the right lock and ensure that we've got all the wheel travel but not too much that we're overloading the servo. And we have in fact got a little bit too much lock. So I'm going to go all the way over here and back it off a little bit on the dual rate. Like so. There we go. Perfect little adjustment there. So we've gone from a faulty servo that hasn't worked to installing a new Hiace D300 and getting the Octane back out on the track, bashing around the park and bringing fun. I'm Brett, and thanks for watching.